Welcome back to HR Secrets. If you're new to the series, welcome. We're glad you could join us. My name is Viet, and I'm here with Ashley, and we're your hosts for Season 2, Episode 4. HR Secrets is the HRC podcast series where we look into the different trends and aspects of HR to provide students with more knowledge on the HR industry.
Yeah, for our last episode of the term, we'll be diving deep into the topic of talent development to learn what it takes to grow employees' hidden potential.
Okay, so today we're pleased to have with us Gary Wang, Manager of Talent and Organizational Development at Fortinet, here to join us in discussing this topic. Hi, Gary. How are you doing?
Good, Yed. How are you?
Good, very good. Very excited to hear your insights today.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
That's perfect. And before we get into things, Gary, could you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and tell us a bit about your position at Fortinet?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So as you already said, my position at Fortinet, it's a B2B organization. We've got over 10,000 employees in 90 countries. And my position with Fortinet is that of a talent and organizational development manager. And the areas that define my role, that take up my week and my day, are the areas of talent development, learning and development, focusing on enabling human skills in the organization, and then enabling our leaders who are located all over the world to be successful. And then I'll do a little bit of a plug as well for the work I do outside of Fortinet. I am very involved with a charity I'm very, very proud of. They're called Art Starts in Schools. And there I sit on the board of directors as their past president.
Great. Yeah. Definitely, maybe we can plug the charity at the end too in the video. Yeah. So today we're focusing on like the area of talent development, which is like basically kind of ties all those together. And however, we want to note that the function of HR involves like many aspects, including like talent development and talent management, which may be kind of similar but also different. Could you briefly like explain what each of these two sub-functions are and what differs talent development from talent management?
Yeah, I think both talent development and talent management, whichever way you slice or dice it, I'll start with the commonality, which is that both areas support the building and organization to build a high performance culture and team. Hopefully, if you do it right, you should get an engaged workforce and really great business results. The type of workplace that people come to know and aspire to join one day. For me, the talent development specifically focuses on developing and honing employee skills and their competencies. This can be through training as well as through programs, things like individual development plans. So as these examples are showcasing a real orientation towards the development and the growth of employee skills and their capabilities. For me, talent management is a bit of a broader umbrella, and it could also include talent development. Depending on which HR practitioner you speak with, they might also say that these are two distinct but overlapping areas. Either or, I think for me, talent management is really a strategy of an organization to recruit and to staff talented people, but also to think all the way through the employee life cycle to make sure that they are engaged, they are being developed, and they are being deployed the right way in the organization. And so for me, talent management is a little bit of that broader umbrella that does include development, but also encompasses that entire employee life cycle.
Yeah, and I think this ties into our next question. Like you mentioned in our coffee chat, a key question to ask in the area of talent development is, how can I do more with less? And so could you kind of elaborate on that concept a bit?
Yes, I'm chuckling because it's always something that floats in my mind is, how do I do more with less? When in fact, I would love to have more to do more with. But what I meant by that when we were in our private coffee chat earlier was that from a place of trying to think on behalf of the organization, of the business, really the employer that's employing me, everywhere I go, whether it's Fortinet or somewhere else, I'm always trying to think about what is the existing infrastructure and amount of resourcing that is available for me? And how do I make sure that I am being able to generate a return on their investment, which is in me, in employing me, and in having the team that I'm a part of, and trying to generate that ROI for the company. And so I think many practitioners in many disciplines of areas of expertise can easily think of, well, if I had $10,000 more dollars, if I had $1.5 million more dollars to my budget, I could do this with it. I could do this with it. I could do this with it. For me, I think that's the easy stuff. That's the stuff that we can all think of. Where I find it really perplexing, but very exciting of a challenge, is to differentiate myself and my team by thinking about, without compromising the integrity of the solutions that I'm deploying and developing, how can I, on behalf of my organization, come up with scalable infrastructure, really inspiring learning enablement solutions, talent development programs with less resources? How do we maximize the foundation and the basics of what we have? And to make sure that I'm able to do that in a way that really keeps the inspirational or the aspirational aspects of our culture and what we do for talent development. So I think that those are some of the things that I think of when I think of that phrase of how do I do more with less, is always to reorientate myself to, of course, I can always do more if I have more, but hypothetically, if I had less, how could it forces me to think in a little bit more creative and innovative way. And that's always something that I strive to do and encourage my peers and others to do as well.
I think I just want to jump on to, like, with all the candidates that you've seen throughout your career, what are some things that you've learned along the way that have helped you, uncover or spot hidden talent?
One of the biggest lessons I learned over the years of recruiting and being part of the recruitment process, as it pertains to uncovering hidden talent, is to believe what people are saying to you and to create the type of evaluative environment can sometimes be threatening, and it doesn't mirror and match the workplace. So my focus now is to, and what I've learned is to create a safe and really comfortable environment for people's best version of themselves to show up in that otherwise evaluative, high pressured interview setting. I find that, and what I've realized is also by looking at what peers and what other managers have done, is that if you approach interviews and the selection process and the sourcing and headhunting process from a place of judgment and from a place of suspicion, like I need to find out what are these people's weaknesses, what are they hiding, what's wrong with them, like what I need to tease out the really good ones from just the so-so ones. If you approach talent from that perspective, I find that you miss the most important people. The best people will pick up on that, will sense on that, and they will say, no, thank you. And they will go to a different interview process and immerse themselves into prospective employers who they believe are creating that equitable, inclusive environment for them, who do care about getting to know the breadth and the depth of who they are, not just at work, but also the totality of who they are, what they care about, that they can come to their work with their full selves. I also find that, what I mean by creating that safe environment, allowing people to show up as their best selves, it also means little simple things that I've learned from some great teachers that I've had in my life, specifically at the charity. I've learned so much from the staff there, arts and schools, about little things, very little things that you can do, like sharing the interview questions that you're about to ask someone with them ahead of the interview. And it doesn't preclude you from asking probing questions that you didn't share with them in advance, but it is really those little moments that really matter. And if you miss those opportunities or these techniques, I think that you do a disservice to yourself and the organization, because you won't ever be able to find that hidden gem, because they will be hidden in a pile of your unconscious biases. And so that's really how I think about I think what I've learned from others throughout the past couple of years.
That's really, really insightful. Yeah. And I mean, what would you say to those companies and employers who don't like fully believe in, investing in talent development strategies because it's not worth it or they don't need to?
Sarcastic and sassy, Gary, is like, good luck, is what I want to say. But I think in all seriousness, I would say, talk to your people. And when I say your people, I mean all of your people, not the handful of people who you constantly surround yourself with. That's maybe creating a narrative or a reality that is true and valid, but limited and constrained. And it's not painting a real holistic picture of what's going on in your organization. Talk to your people. Do skip level interviews, reach out to people cross-functionally, cross-geographically, talk to people that you really don't want to talk to, find out what their realities are, and make connections, bridge yourself to other people, and find out what is needed across also hierarchical and positional levels. Talk to more people, and then make another assessment around what you think was needed or not needed in the area of talent development. I think I would say with confidence that I can promise you that if you're talking to enough people and you're getting to really, really know your people, naturally you will understand the important strategic value of talent development and why it's vital that you play a role in investing in it.
And yeah, I guess like that does it for this episode of HR Secrets. And before we end off, Gary, how can our listeners and viewers contact you if they'd like to reach out?
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, my LinkedIn profile or URL will be shared somehow or other. So folks should feel free to definitely reach out to me there. I do take a look through my LinkedIn inbox and connections regularly. So please reach out to me there and I'd be happy to connect.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Gary. Yeah, there you have it. This wraps up season 2, episode 4 of HR Secrets. And Gary, thank you so much again for your time and for sharing your insights into the area of talent development. And we really appreciate and enjoy having you on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Viad. Nice to talk to you.
We also want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, SFU BD School of Business, SFSS, CPHR, Trimark People Solutions, Inc., AGL Glazing, Inc., BD, and BMO SFU Student MasterCard Partnership.
Yeah. And as well as Close Capital Savings, CBRE Group, Swim Recruiting, Exalt HR Consulting, Van City, and Clear HR Consulting, Inc. Without their support, our events and initiatives cannot be hosted successfully. Please visit our website if you're interested in learning more about them. Thank you. To our audience, thanks so much for sticking around. We hope this episode provided you with some valuable insights and guidance that you can use in your own journeys.
Yeah, and since this is the last episode of HR Secrets for the 2021-2022 term, Viet and I and the rest of the HRSA team would like to thank all of our season 2 guests once again for taking part. Without your insights, this initiative would not have been possible. And thank you as well to our audience for your support and for always tuning in. We'll see you soon with HR Secrets Season 3.
And don't